Lesson 2 is on finding slope of a graph. Today we're going to talk about slope. Slope is a ratio at which a line increases or decreases, so it's an increase or a decrease. What you need to remember today to find slope is the rise over run. Now the rise part of our fraction deals with, think of it like water level. It goes up and down. So the rise deals with up and down, and the run will deal with, think of across the ground, cross-country runner there, left to right. Might not make a whole lot of sense. Bear with me as we go throughout this lesson right here. What else you need to remember is there's 4 different types of slopes that we're going to talk about, and we've talked about a couple already. We've talked about an increase, which would be positive. We talked about a decrease, which is negative. What we have not talked about is a slope that looks like this. Okay, straight across, horizontal line. This slope is 0. It has no slope. Now when you think of slope, think of like a ski hill, the ski slope. Okay, that's kind of what I think of the pitch of a line, how much it increases or decreases. And the last slope that we'll take care of is a vertical line. This slope is called undefined. It is so steep you can't define it. It'd be like you peering over a cliff. In example 1, or actually for the duration of this assignment, is we need to figure out the slope of each one of these problems. Example 1, if you look at it, according to the slopes that we've discussed, this would be a negative slope. What we need to do is we use what we call as rise over run. And here's what rise over run looks like. Now when you deal with slope, you're going to create a triangle just like you would when you did Pythagorean theorem. So we are going to use the 2 points that they give us. Here's our 2 points. And we're going to construct a right triangle. Now here's that right triangle. Here's the right angle. Now when you do rise over run, we started from this point up here on the top and we moved down. Now when you move down a unit, we move 1 spot, 2 spots, 3, 4, 5, and we moved 6 units down. And when you move down, that is a negative 6. We move down. Rise over run says wherever you leave off from that last point, we left off right here. That's where we need to start to finish constructing that right angle. So now we're moving to the right 1 unit, 2 units. When you move to the right on the number line, that is a positive 2. So your fraction, your rise up and down, is negative 6 over positive 2. So this would be your fraction is negative 6 over 2, which reduces, and we always reduce that fraction, to negative 3. So this line, linear line, is decreasing by 3 units. That would be the constant rate. If we look at example 2 here, that line is increasing and it is positive, so therefore we should have a positive slope. Again, rise over run. They give us 2 points. Start with one of the points, it doesn't matter where, and we're going to go ahead and construct that right angle. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to move 1 unit, 2, 3, 4. I moved 4 units to the right, that is a positive 4. Now remember, it's from where you last left off, and we left off right here at this point here. So I need to move up 1, 2, 3, 4, and I moved up 4 units, so that's a positive 4. So I have 4 over 4, and this reduces to 1, so the slope is 1 there. Example 3, if we look at example 3, that is a vertical line. And as we mentioned back in that previous slide, and that you probably already wrote down on your paper, that the vertical line here has that undefined slope. So we don't really have to do any figuring here. We can look at it. It is vertical. The slope is undefined. Example 4. If you look at example 4, again, that we mentioned in the front that you have on your notes, that a horizontal line has 0 slope. Okay, picture that as ground level. a floor, no slope. There's no pitch to that line. So the slope here is 0, or you can say 0. Example 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now look at these examples and how do they differ from the previous 4? Well, in the previous 4 they gave us points. On these next 4 there are no points. So you need to come up with points that you know exactly what they are. If I put a point on this line, this would not be a good point to use. Why? Because I don't know exactly what that point is. So I want to figure out a point that I know exactly what that ordered pair would be. So where your grid lines intersect. So if you look at this line, this would be an excellent point to use. Okay, I know what that point is. That ordered pair, if I needed the ordered pair, would be 3, 0. So on this line I need to find another point that I know exactly what it is. Well, here would be another point that I know exactly what it is. So those are 2 points that I would use. Now I can go ahead and construct that right angle. Looking at this when I do my rise over run, this line is increasing, therefore I should have a positive slope. So again, let's go ahead and construct the right angle. We construct the right angle. Doesn't matter what point we start at. I'm going to start right here at this point. When I move to the left, it is 1 unit, 2, 3, 4 units. When I move to the left 4 units, that is -4. Now remember, when you do rise over run, it's from where you last left off. Well, I last left off at this point. Now I move down 1 point. When you move down, that is negative. So looking at my rise and run here, my rise deals with up and down. That is -1. My run, left to right, is -4. 2 negatives, when you divide, make a positive. So this is a positive 1/4. The slope is 1/4. Example 6. Looking at this line is decreasing. I should wind up with a negative slope. Again, I need to go ahead and plot 2 points that I know exactly what they are. So points of intersection. There would be a point. Here would be a point. Again, go ahead and construct that right angle. I'm going to start here. I move down 1, 2, 3 units. I move down so that it's -3. From where I last left off, I move to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 units. And when I move to the right, that is positive. My rise over run, well, my rise up and down is -3. My run is 8. So again, my slope here is -3/8. And we mentioned that this should be a negative slope. Example 7, find 2 points. Here would be a point. There would be a point. Looking for points that we know exactly what those ordered pairs are. Looking at this graph, this is positive. So I'm going to go ahead and start here, and I moved over 1 unit. When I move to the right 1 unit, that's a +1. From where I last left off, I move up 1 unit and 2 units. When you move up, that is a +2. Again, it's rise over run. Your rise is 2. Your run is 1. You have 2 over 1 reduced. Your slope is 2. And we mentioned that that is positive. Example 8, really don't need to look for 2 points that I know exactly what they are. Reason being is I know exactly what that slope is. We know that every horizontal line, the slope is 0, or it has no slope. This concludes finding slope from a graph, rise over run.